Has the diplomatic order of the Horn of Africa just been rewritten? Can a territory unrecognized for 35 years suddenly reshape Red Sea geopolitics? What happens when Israel, a Middle Eastern power, decides to formalize ties with a breakaway state in East Africa? This week, Hargeisa became the center of a controversy with implications for maritime security, regional alliances, and the core principles of state sovereignty. This is the story of that moment, and what it means for the Red Sea and beyond. This is Horn Lens, clear, rigorous, evidence-driven analysis on the Horn of Africa, the Red Sea, and shifting global power dynamics. Subscribe for deep geopolitical context you won't find anywhere else. Israel's historic recognition of Somaliland as a sovereign nation has sent shockwaves from the Red Sea across Africa. For over 3 decades, Somaliland has operated as a self-governing democracy, invisible on official maps. Now, Israel's bold move has thrust it onto the global stage, igniting controversy and forcing nations to reconsider alliances and the very nature of statehood. The implications are profound, touching on maritime security, economic partnerships, and the principles of international law. Has Israel opened a Pandora's box, risking further destabilization, or charted a pragmatic new course for the region? The world is watching as the aftershocks ripple across the globe. This is not just a story about 2 nations, it's about shifting global power and the uncertain future of a critical region. In late 2025, Israel made a stunning announcement. It would formally recognize Somaliland as an independent state, the first UN member to do so. Just days later, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar landed in Hargeisa, received with full state honors, the first top diplomat from any UN member to visit the self-declared republic. The visit was more than symbolic. Both sides affirmed plans to open embassies and appoint ambassadors, signaling a commitment to long-term cooperation. Somaliland's President Abdullahi hailed the moment as a vindication of his nation's struggle for self-determination. Sa'ar emphasized that Israel's recognition was about mutual benefit, not antagonism. But the message was clear. A new strategic axis was forming in the Horn of Africa. President Abdullahi accepted an invitation to visit Israel, cementing the alliance at the highest level. The old rules no longer applied. Somaliland is not a failed state. Since declaring independence in 1991, it has built a stable democracy, held elections, and maintained its own currency and army, an island of order compared to Somalia's turmoil. Its greatest asset is geography, an 850-kilometer coastline along the Gulf of Aden, overlooking the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a choke point for global trade. The port of Berbera, with investment from the UAE and access agreements with Ethiopia, is becoming a modern hub, offering Ethiopia vital sea access and providing Israel a potential logistical foothold. Somaliland's proven stability and strategic location make it a unique partner for global powers. For years, it has positioned itself as a responsible actor against piracy and terrorism. Israel's recognition is a reward for this record, and a calculated move to secure a reliable ally in a turbulent region. The calculus political maturity plus priceless geography equals a partnership too valuable to ignore. Israel's decision was driven by urgent security concerns in the Red Sea, where Houthi attacks threaten global shipping and Israel's own trade routes. By partnering with Somaliland, Israel gains a stable ally directly across from Yemen, offering intelligence and surveillance advantages. Berbera's port could serve as a base for Israeli naval assets, anchoring Israel's presence in the southern Red Sea. This move fits Israel's periphery doctrine, building ties with non-Arab states to counter regional threats. Somaliland, a Muslim-majority nation outside the core Arab conflicts, offers a pragmatic, mutually beneficial partnership. the alliance signals Israel's willingness to make bold moves to protect its interests, even at the risk of diplomatic fallout. In Hargeisa, Israel found a partner eager for legitimacy and ready to cooperate on security and economic fronts. Somalia's government in Mogadishu reacted with fury, calling Israel's recognition a direct assault on its sovereignty and unity. Declaring the move illegal and void, Somalia insisted that any agreement with Hargeisa has no legal standing, citing international law and decades of precedent. The decision is seen as destabilizing, emboldening secessionists, and undermining years of fragile progress toward national unity. Somalia has vowed to use all diplomatic means to counter Israel's move, rallying support from the Arab League and African Union to isolate Israel and defend its territorial integrity. The international response was swift and overwhelmingly negative. The African Union reaffirmed its commitment to colonial-era borders, warning that Israel's move threatened continental stability. At the UN Security Council, most nations condemned the recognition, supporting Somalia's sovereignty and urging respect for international law. A coalition of regional powers, including Turkey, Iran, and Arab states, accused Israel of destabilizing the region for its own interests. Western powers, while more measured, reiterated support for Somalia's territorial integrity and called for dialogue. The world, it seemed, was not ready to follow Israel's lead. The diplomatic taboo had been broken, but the global consensus held firm, for now. Israel's recognition of Somaliland shattered a decades-old diplomatic consensus, providing Somaliland with its most significant victory yet. The promise of embassies and official ties gives Hargeisa new leverage, forcing other nations to reconsider their policies. While few are likely to follow Israel immediately, the door to recognition is now ajar. For Somalia, the conflict is no longer just internal. It's a global issue, putting Mogadishu under new pressure to negotiate or risk isolation. The Horn of Africa has become a new arena for global competition, with major powers watching closely. The region's future is now more uncertain, as old certainties vanish and new rivalries emerge. The rules of the game have changed. The Horn of Africa stands at a crossroads. Somalia, backed by the African Union and Arab League, will intensify efforts to isolate Israel and prevent a domino effect of recognition. Somaliland, emboldened by Israeli support, will seek new allies and investment, but risks alienating the Arab and Muslim world and becoming a target for extremists. The Red Sea region is now in flux, with global powers likely to pursue more transactional, interest-driven policies. The scramble for influence may intensify, risking further fragmentation and instability. The key question: is Israel's move a reckless gamble or a shrewd blueprint for 21st century diplomacy? Gideon Sa'ar's visit was a geopolitical earthquake, empowering Somaliland and challenging the post-colonial order. The long-term consequences remain unwritten. The world is watching as the old maps are redrawn.